They're all dead. Don't have to wait this time, 'cause I'm giving up on my sense of control.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, Union Smack, doing what we do best, getting down to our bread and butter right here. What started it all for this show at WWE NXT UK review back for the month of October. But there's no way in hell I could do this on my own, to my right or my left or wherever, because you're all the way across the ocean. My main man, the most fluent encyclopedia of NXT UK, the man who wrote the book himself, NXT UK Year 1, available on Blu-ray, cheap plug. Maniac Matt Tennant, how you doing, man? Welcome back. Hope you had a fantastic week, my friend. Before we get down to the review this week in our little omnibus, where can everyone catch you and all that you do?
You can catch me as per usual on Twitter at Bruisermate, that's M8. You can go to lulu.com to purchase The Undertaker, A Trip Down Death Valley, NXT UK Year 1, and ProWrestlingTees.com/Union Smack for our official t-shirt, thanks to our good friend, Rocky Baye.
As always, thank you, our main man, Sweet Tea Rocky B, our biggest supporter ever, our unofficial street team, I would say, for the show. Our hype man, our Vince McMahon is Rocky Baye, however you say it, Sweet Tea Rocky B. Thank you again. And as always, hit that red button down below, subscribe right here on YouTube, Hibiki TMD. All your nerdy funny bones will be tickled, I promise here. If it's something nerdy and something niche, I guarantee you it's covered on this channel. Let's get to it, though. Last week we debuted a very first-time segment we've ever done. We're going to do questions now, and we got out of the gate, as soon as the episode dropped last week, we got a question from longtime listener, viewer, my buddy Lucas Hackett. Thank you so much, Lucas, for your question. So without any further ado, Matt, what did Lucas have up his sleeve for us?
He had two questions, actually. So the first one was, since we're in Survivor Series season, what would be your dream Survivor Series team, and what would be your team name? I'll let you go first on that one, Travis.
Well, before I get to that specific question, I will say my favorite Survivor Series team of all time, and it's because it's just purely nostalgia, and it was a kid. It was the most amazing ensemble I've ever seen. We might have talked about it before on here. It was the Hulkamaniacs of Hogan, Jake the Snake, and Demolition. My all-time favorite team. Yes, I think we have, yeah. Yeah. That was it for me. But if I had to assemble we're talking any era, I'm assuming. Man.
Any wrestlers from any era.
Oh, good lord. Do you go with like a technician squad? Do you go with shit kickers? Do you go with like an all-star team like an NWO? It's tough. I guess it's whatever I'm in the mood for that day for a team. I guess today maybe I'm in the mood for some technicians. So my all-time favorite technical team would be Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, and for shits and gigs, Dean Malenko. And then call him Tech Team 2000. See what I did?
Oh, no. Yeah, I see what you did there. Hang your head in shame. I think I would probably go Steiner Brothers. Obviously Pete Dunne, as if I couldn't leave him out. Undertaker, and like you, Bret Hart. And I'd go with something along the lines of either the Bitter Enders or the Excellence of Bitter Enders. So you sort of tied it all in there.
I can dig it. Yeah. It's a good question. What was
his second?
Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say, what else did he have for us?
So he also asked, who would win between Finn Balor and Malachi Black, and how would you book the finish?
I'm assuming we're going to book this in WWE or AEW. I don't know.
I
Whatever.
mean, he wasn't specific, but I'm just going to say like let's go both. A WWE, AEW Super Show.
It's such an open-ended question, and we appreciate the question. But for one, it's like, okay, is there going to be a return? Is this an angle? Is this a one-off? If it's a one-off, I'm going Malachi Black, just because I think he pulls off the dark persona way fucking better than it. Just when Finn Balor does the demon, I know it's cool. I loved it more in New Japan, first of all, because he had more creative. He was allowed to do more, but it's WWE totally went the other way. All it was in New Japan was just used for mind games. And of course, when he went to WWE, he was like, "Oh, he's the Undertaker. He has spooky powers." No, it was just a ploy into. But I'm going Malachi Black.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same. I had two different endings depending on how supernatural you were going to book it. So I'd have Black as the ultra dominant heel character. He is / was in AEW before the Cody loss, and I'd have Balor as the demon. The first ending I'd have, I think there'd be a lot of near falls, possibly credited to the supernatural element, because I know AEW matches go for days and they kick out of everything. But for me, Black would probably catch him with the Black Mass or whatever he calls it now, as Balor went for the coup de grace, and then as they're both exhausted, they'd sort of probably just use each other to get to their feet, and then he hit a second and just collapse on top of the demon, I think. But the second one, the more supernatural ending, I'd sort of have Black, and I went to town on this, Travis. I put some thought into this. I'm not sure why I spent as much time as I did on it, but I'd sort of have Black channel the supernatural. I'd have him almost steal the demon's powers, and then right at the end I'd have all the lights go out, and then a flashlight, sort of a white flashlight I should say, flash on the four sides of Balor, and as it flashed he'd hit him with a black mass on all sides, so it looked like he'd split himself into four, and then he'd pin him.
Wow, you're doing all George Lucas Star Wars effects on. I love it. If we're gonna
Let's go all out. Go on.
If we're gonna do the Gaga and the WWE stuff in it, I would do like the same thing where he starts to gain the powers of the demon, but like on the demon's entrance, you know how he does the stupid little crawl that's all weird. I would have, while he's doing that crawl on the actual entrance stage, there could be a way with the pyro team to shoot up black mist right in the face of the demon.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. Two good questions. Thank you, Lucas, very much.
Yes, thank you, Lucas. And if anyone else has got any questions, it can be Lucas, it can be any of you, then drop them in the comments below. Send them to Travis. Send them to me on Twitter, and we'll answer them next week in your house. Are we 13, 14 review?
Yeah,
13. There you go.
Hopefully a lucky number. It's early 97, so all bets are off with quality. So we will get there next week. I have to do it. I heard the little comment about Cody Rhodes. I just want to say that I'm in the camp of where at the end of that program, after the 3 matches, I think Malachi Black wasn't hurt. I think Cody Rhodes was hurt in that feud character-wise. There's no way he's gonna be able to just. And I know how stubborn he's being on social media, but like, I'm not going to turn heel. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to work. I don't give a fuck what they do right now. They're going to have to eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even watch it, and I've been pulled into the conversation, but obviously if the fans have turned on him, then there's only one way out of that.
It doesn't help that they're giving heels lines and promos like Andrade, literally making fun of his neck tattoo. That was a babyface line because the entire world has made fun of Cody's neck tattoo for the past 2 years.
Yeah, terrible choice, son.
Well, it's not a terrible choice. Let's get down to why we're here, Matt. The month of October has come and gone, and that means it's our first NXT UK review together in a year and a half. Let's do it. Well, I know we're not doing every episode and every single thing that happened. Yeah. We're cherry picking the best of NXT UK October. So Matt, you're the man with the format this week, going to guide us through our little omnibus here, Mr. Bus Driver. What's first on your list? What would you like to tackle? What happened in the month of October?
So we're going first back to October the 7th to Amelia McKenzie versus Ginny. Now, I wasn't a particular fan of the match. I thought it could have gone longer, etc. But I chose this, like I chose a lot of things on this list, to talk about both Amelia McKenzie and Ginny and their sort of trajectory into October in NXT UK. For me, first off, let's go with Ginny. I know you're a big fan of Ginny, Travis. She's risen in my estimation. She started off as sort of a mid-carder in the women's division. They gave her shots at the title that never really worked out. A fashionista gimmick, again, never really worked out. But just recently, she's been with Joseph Connors. She's been targeting Meiko Satomura and the UK Women's Championship. And I like this version of Ginny, and I'm hopeful for where it's going.
It's had to have been, and I got to address it, because it's a long-running gag on the show with you and I. It's got to just drive you insane of, like, the 90 releases in the past year since COVID that somehow Joseph Connors has still dodged the bullets. He's still there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Joseph Connors was never a favourite of mine. Like, going back to the UK tournament in 2017. But just recently, I have to say, and I sort of hate myself for saying this, but I'm enjoying Joseph Connors with Ginny. If he was on his own, if he was doing this character on his own, then no. Top of the list to be axed.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Ginny has brought out something in Joseph Connors that is enjoyable. And in the book, I wrote he was one of the most boring men in professional wrestling, back then in 2019. But no, bravo, Joseph Connors.
And you're totally right. I totally agree with everything you said right there. And for me, with the fashionista, first of all, those two together remind me of what Steven Richards kind of used to do with Victoria. But I mean, obviously the gimmick's different with the fashion people. Why not put them in a little group with Pretty Deadly? It's all the same kind of gimmick.
It is. The worry I'd have with that, though, right now is, for me, Pretty Deadly are right at the top of the food chain. Like, they're the thing I've enjoyed most about NXT UK in the past few months. I don't know whether I want them tarnished with the booking of Ginny, if you get what I'm saying. Because I know, obviously, I read forward. People have posted spoilers online that I had to look at. So I know where Ginny's going. And I don't want them to be sort of dragged down.
Yeah, I guess I'm under the assumption that it would help elevate Jenny if they did it serious and made her a serious threat. Because we've seen her in progress as women's champ. She did very well. Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She was excellent.
As far as Millie McKenzie, we've talked about this in DMs. I'm like you. I've expected so much more by now with Millie McKenzie. Feels a little just kind of complacent and squandered on the roster.
Oh, completely squandered. When she came in earlier this year, it was like, yes, she's here, obviously destined to. I thought she'd be the one to end Kaylee Ray's mammoth undefeated streak, but no, they jobbed her out. I think it was second or third match. She lost. She lost a lot of momentum after that, and now she's just really become a lackey for Meiko Satomura. And I think heel turn is much needed. Just like a lot of people.
Exactly. You got to do so. And that's the best. That's the best baby faces. We've seen it time and time again. When it's not working as baby face, turn him heel. The Rock. So many guys. Maybe that's what she needs. Maybe look, Roman Reigns, the most modern example of that.
Exactly. A heel turn can save a lot of characters, and in some cases, a lot of careers. Without it, I fear she's one of the most talented women in Britain at the minute. But I feel like she's just going nowhere fast if she doesn't break away quickly. Yeah.
As far as the match in itself, I mean, I don't think anything really stood out from those. All right.
I mean, yes, it was fine. Like I said, a lot of these things here aren't just like for the matches; they're for the booking of the people. Because look, Travis, it's been well over a year and a half since we even talked NXT UK last, because it wasn't even on the air. It's like the last time we were together. So.
Everything has changed. The entire aesthetic of NXT UK has changed. They're in the studio now. I've even with no fans there, and that's a big elephant too we haven't brought up, is fans are now finally back in NXT UK. Not a full house, but that's definitely helping, making it more watchable right now with just some fans there, for God's sakes. But I love the little mini tower they built in there, the digital tower. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's got an identity now. I think NXT UK, but I would like to see it go back on the road.
It looks better than
Yeah, obviously-
Impact, for Christ's sakes. And their setup.
It looks much better than fucking Impact. But obviously, if it goes back on the road, then a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday would be nice. Wednesday and Thursday tapings aren't going to do me any good.
Let's talk about that real quick, because this actually just came out the other day. This is actually huge news for you guys over there. They're going to be in their little UK tour. Walter's going to make like 6 shots. And when they announced his opponent, I was like, Jesus Christ, can I get this on TV? Walter and Cesaro going on tour. My God. That's going to be amazing.
So we're going to get 6 bangers there, but I don't think we're going to see any of them unless WWE are kind and sort of film one of the shows and broadcast it on the network. But I don't see that happening.
Hopefully there's a good soldier out there with some fan cam footage. Get something. At least a highlight.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But yeah. Anything else from the early bits of October worth bringing up here, Matt?
I was going to go with the Heritage Cup tournament, but that sort of ties into what I've got later. So let's jump forward to October the 14th and the reinstatement. Reinstatement, is that the word?
It is
the
now.
Reinstatement this day. Oh. We're creating new
I don't know.
words,
You're the
basically.
writer. I mean, if anyone's allowed to make up
That's
words.
true, yeah. Why am I asking? So let's get the reinstatement of Blair Davenport. I mean, I think we both had the same reaction then. It was just, I'm not sure where you really want to go with this, because obviously Blair Davenport, for people who haven't been watching, haven't been keeping up with it, is Bea Priestley, is Will Ospreay's girlfriend, and both were sort of, I'm not going to say sort of, because they were actually called out during the speaking out movement for things they'd done to, female professional wrestlers in progress,
blackballing
British
one
scene.
girl or something.
Exactly, yeah. And now NXT UK have signed her. She's come in. She's made a bit of an impact, I'd say. Not a complete one. But I'm just not feeling it with her. Like, the cringy expressions. She's not really stood out in the ring. The best thing she's done so far, I say the best, most impactful, is attack Sid Scala and then get indefinitely suspended and then brought back because Stevie Turner, who's also a new face in NXT UK, wanted revenge.
I do my best to separate the art from the artist sometimes, and I'm going to try my damnedest here. I mean, as a person outside of the ring, those thoughts are my own on Bea Priestley. Now, over in Japan and Stardom, I thought she was fine. She was obviously the best gaijin they had over there. Will it translate well? That's yet to be seen. For me, it's not on the levels of Tessa Blanchard, but I'm still shocked they even signed this woman to begin with all the horror stories and all the rumors about her outside of the ring. It's just really weird that they would take that risk, as much talent as they already have. But we'll see. Will she work out? That's for me. She's still kind of meh. Even if there wasn't the drama in real life, personally, she's not a standout performer for me.
No, me neither. But I feel like they're lining her up to dethrone Meiko Satomura. I don't see they've got anyone else really that they could put the belt on, and she's the obvious choice at the minute. And then when that happens, it's like her in-ring, so it's been just meh so far. And, granted, she hasn't had great opponents or a great storyline. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel when she finally beats Satomura for the title.
And you're right. I mean, you look around the landscape. I mean, even if they go all the way with this Xia Brookside heel turn, is she real? I mean, she's been there forever and done a grand total of fucking nothing in NXT UK. Her claim to fame is that she's Robbie Brookside's daughter. She's talented. They just done nothing with her. Limbo.
No, they haven't. And I'm glad we're talking about Xia Brookside now, because she was on the list for later. But I think as a heel, Xia Brookside I think she's going to flourish. I think it's her last chance. As you said, she's done nothing since 2018. She came close in, I think it was 2019, at the Download Festival when they were booking her strong, and it looked like she was going to go and she was going to face Kaylee Ray for the title. And that never happened. And then the pandemic hit, and they just lost all interest in her.
And we said from day one we've ever reviewed anything she was ever in. Her first appearance on NXT UK that she was the future, she was money, she has the look. But boy, were we wrong, I guess. Man, it happens.
I mean, it happens. I don't... Unless she sort of comes back with a completely different look, like dyes her hair black, emo makeup, changes the little, everything's got to change about Xia Brookside for her to work when she finally does resurface. Otherwise, she's off to be a carer in her spare time. So
Yeah.
I think the wrestling business might not be for her. This doesn't work.
Dare I take an even drastic leap with her character? And this could be career suicide, but it's better than doing what she's been doing. Those goddamn WWE Women's Tag Team belts have been so irrelevant and been death, just pure death for so long. It's time, if you're going to have them on the roster, why not just try to rejuvenate them? I feel like her and Dakota Kai would make an amazing little tag team, put them on the main roster. Boom. Why not?
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Right now, I would take anything for Xia Brookside other than what she's had.
Except a match with Nia Jax.
Yeah, except Nia Jax will kill her. Let's be honest, she'd snap her in half. But yeah, for me, last chance saloon for Xia Brookside. And we're saying, how sad is it that we're saying that, 2.5, 3 years into a career that's only just hit a main stage?
Yeah, how sad are we saying that too? The girl's only 23, 24 years old, and we're already like, she's done. She's
They've squandered her so much that she's already on last chance.
Could you imagine in 03 with Randy Orton? They made like iffy booking decision when he was IC champion. We're just like, oh, he's done. That kid's done. Man.
Oh my god! But then Randy Orton sort of had Triple H-ish behind it. Xia Brookside's got no one. I don't feel like anyone's gone to bat for her.
It's insane too that her father hasn't stepped up to the plate more about his daughter's career. Exactly. As much pull as he has for NXT UK.
And you'd have thought he'd have said something, but maybe he's one of these fathers that are, letting her try and work it out on her own, or letting it play out on its own. He doesn't want to interfere, and he doesn't want people to say, "Oh, she only got here because of her dad."
Right.
But someone needs to do something fast,
and that's the goddamn fine line you walk with nepotism too. It's such a hard field to play. Which way are you going to go? As we move down the list, though, Matt, let's not dwell on the career of Xia Brookside too long before everyone tunes out. Where are we at next on our little omnibus journey?
We are at Flash Morgan Webster. Now, I wrote here Flash Morgan Webster versus Shah Samuels. Obviously, Shah Samuels graces the thumbnail this week because I absolutely love the bloke. But Flash Morgan Webster, Travis, he's had this thing in the last few weeks where he's gone around and slapped people to challenge them for a match. That backfired on him slightly on the last episode of NXT UK. He went to slap Rampage Brown, and Rampage Brown almost nailed him to the wall. But where are you seeing Flash Morgan Webster? And indeed, let's say subculture, because we said Xia Brookside final chances. Surely subculture, with maybe the exception of Danny Luna, surely they're on their more than final chance.
Just another team that I'm shocked are still there, that they haven't at least gotten a chance in NXT. Yeah, I have no clue at this point with especially Mark Andrews. He's not getting any younger. Obviously, the relaunch of NXT 2.0, age and experience is not what they're looking for. Mark Andrews is kind of a carbon copy creator wrestler guy. Doesn't stand out. It looks like every other generic. Yeah, I like Mark Andrews. As far as Flash Morgan Webster, first of all, the going up to Rampage Brown and smacking him, I don't know in their heads. I see what they were trying to do to make it look like this little guy has like balls of steel, like a Spike Dudley when he turned heel, and he was like, I don't give. But it just made fucking Webster look like an idiot. Why would you do that to Rampage Brown when you're the size of Flash Morgan Webster? To be completely honest, and this is a goddamn another shame, and shame on you, I'm looking at you, WWE, for your booking. I don't care about Flash Morgan Webster, and that's 100% their fault.
Yeah, agreed. And I think we sat here a year, 2 years ago and said Flash Morgan Webster needs a heel turn. He could be like a massive number one heel on NXT UK. If he turned on Andrews, then, maybe at this time Danny Luna sided with him after a blood feud. But right now, I'm just seeing, they are going to turn him at some point. I can see it coming. But will we actually care?
And going back to the very beginning, the initial launch of NXT UK, he was one of the main faces featured on the little vignettes of NXT UK's coming, and his original, like, his mod gimmick. You know what I mean? Like, he was all over the place as one of the talent advertised, and just to see what they've done, it's another head scratcher, man. It really is.
Yep. So, and let's move on to Shah Samuels' opinions, because I really, really like Shah Samuels.
Shaw Samuels has everything. There's no reason to let this talent squander. I'm right there with you. I'd like to see more. You've seen more than I have, but what I have seen, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Shah Samuels, former ICW tag team champion. He's been around the Indies. You know, as we say, he's been around the block a bit. Incredible shape he's got himself into, Travis, from what he used to be.
Yeah.
And I think they need to push him and Noam Dar. I know you're not keen on Noam Dar, but I think they need to push him and Noam Dar to the moon, and then have them feud over the Heritage Cup. Because for Shah Samuels, it's like strap a rocket pack to his back, because that is, you know, there's no glass ceiling for him, I don't think, in NXT UK.
Exactly. And just because you've seen more Shaw Samuels, I'll kind of move the train to the Noam Dar since we're here anyway and get that in the bag.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but I love that they embraced that the guy's hard to understand and that he's nerdy, and that's like with his little talk show now. And that's like the punchline, is that he's just really hard to understand and awkward. And I love that they embrace that with Noam Dar, and it makes it a lot more tolerable for me. And he pulls off that little shitty heel. You just want to punch him in the face. It works. I've totally come around. And you know what? I shit on him just before for squandering talent. I'll give him props on what they've kind of done with Noam Dar, the other end.
Yeah, me too. You know, top heel. We'll get on to NXT UK Heritage Cup win a little bit later, but yeah,
the talk show segment with they've been doing the program at Mustache Mountain. That
yes.
I forget what week it was in October. I enjoyed that segment, but they also did a fine job of building the tension with Trent Seven and Tyler Bate in that segment too. So you kind of had three little storylines going on at once. It was good stuff.
Absolutely. Next, let's move on to Ilya Dragunov versus A-Kid from October the 14th. Great match. Great first defense. Still not sold on A-Kid, Travis.
It's same, not as a performer. Not at all as a performer, but it's Dynamite Kid syndrome for me. Like, my God, Dynamite Kid was incredible in the ring, and Jesus Christ, obviously a trailblazer, but any promo by the Dynamite Kid, any get to know the Dynamite Kid thing, it was just dull as fucking dishwater, and that's where A-Kid is with me. He's just so dull as just a character, and that's not a slight. But you see, there's a way you work that, and you stop giving him mic time so much, and let his fucking work do the talking for him. And that's what they need to do with A-Kid. I think they're doing a fine job with him so far. He's definitely, when he first debuted, both of us was kind of like, A-Kid? First of all, that's your name. Yeah. What is the gimmick? We just thought he was just going to be an enhancement guy, but no, they've really kind of tried to get him serious, and it's, for the most part, it's worked.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree for the most part, but his in-ring, as good as it is, as fast, slick, it leaves me cold, and I don't know why. I don't know whether I don't just flat out don't like him, or whether maybe his style doesn't fit with me well, But then saying that, Rey Mysterio's did, and everybody else's did, but there's something I can't put my finger on with A-Kid.
And you know what? Dare I say, maybe for you, and I totally get it, because I'm that way too with a lot of guys, it's sign of the times. Because with the Rey Mysterio, when I was just like you in 96, he was like nothing we ever saw before in WCW. He was like a human video game character. With A-Kid now, that's everybody's style. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't, so that's probably what that is. Let's talk about something real quick that we need to bring up, and I know it hasn't happened on NXT UK in October, but the most underrated match that's not getting talked about. How is this not in everyone's top 3 for match of the year? The War. Dragunov finally dethroned the reign of Walter. What a fucking match that was. Because I know you brought up Dragunov. I just wanted 2 seconds.
Yes. I mean, one of the... I think... we say one of the greatest, but possibly 2 of the greatest NXT UK championship matches there's ever been.
Yeah.
Because obviously people just look at the takeover match and say, yeah, that was a war. But at the same time, then you've got to go back to October last year and, the one that set it up,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was without that match, I don't think Walter versus Dragunov 2 would have been as well received as it was. I don't think people would have cared about it as much as they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a while, I was getting really worried too. Like, are they ever going to make Dragunov the guy? You know what I mean? Because it was kind of like start stop. You know what I mean? It just felt like that.
But I have to credit them, greatly, because after he lost to Walter the first time, he went unhinged. He lost his mind a little bit. He became unpredictable. He was knocking people out left, right, and centre. So they took him through a character change.
Yeah.
When he lost to Walter, and credit for that, because they could have just gone lost to Walter. Never mind. 2 months later, book a rematch with nothing really behind it, and switch the title. But they didn't. They took like 6 months to really build up this unhinged Dragunov character, and bravo for that.
Yeah, totally. And I just thought I'd spend 2 seconds on it. Any of you guys that hasn't seen that match yet, shame on you. Go do it. Go do it yesterday, for God's sakes.
Absolutely.
As far as the match with him and A-Kid, I liked it. It was really good stuff.
Yeah, and for a first title defense, I can't complain. Quick question: do you see them keeping the title on Dragunov for another 700 days, or do you see him more as a transitional champion, 3-4 months, and then move on to the next long-term star?
I think because they've been bringing in, and that's something else we haven't brought up, all the seasoned veterans like the Mako, the Rampage Brown, all those guys, these legends over there, they brought them in pretty much. I think 6 months. 6 months would be fair.
Yeah, I mean, not every title reign can be 685 days, 800 and whatever it was. Well, you know what I mean? That does get boring after a while.
Once in a while, it's okay to have, transitional title reigns in there once in a while.
Yeah.
It gets more guys over.
Hopefully it doesn't hurt Dragunov, although he has built up a following in, NXT now, so there's a chance to take him there afterwards.
I think wherever Dragunov goes, no matter where he was booked previously, now there's a limit. Now don't put him with Hornswoggle somewhere. That'll ruin anybody. But I feel like because he's Dragunov, he can get himself over like that anywhere he goes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's a once in a lifetime kind of guy. Just he looks insane. He's got everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, part of me says if he hits the main roster, they'll turn him into the Mad Russian heel, but that remains to be seen.
Matt, the Heritage Cup's come and gone this year. Overall, what did you think of the tournament?
I enjoyed the tournament to crown a new champion last year. This year, I've not really liked it much at all. Obviously, it was built around the ascension of Noam Dar, but the matches were just there. They existed to really fill a show.
Yeah, I mean, there was some nice little pleasant surprises in there. But realistically, I feel like Tyler Bate didn't need it.
No. I think at the end of the day, Tyler Bate he's had it just to build up the tension with Trent Seven. And that partnership has got to split. I know where Mustache Mountain are going from now until, end of November. I don't want to spoil it for you or anyone else, but after that, I think a title match with Pretty Deadly is nailed in. And after that, they lose to Pretty Deadly. This isn't what happens. This is my prediction. They're going to lose to Pretty Deadly, and then I've been saying for ages that Trent Seven needs to turn heel. I think Tyler Bate's going to turn.
I could see that. I think either one it would work.
Yeah, I think for the shock factor, it's going to be everyone's looking at it and going, look, Trent Seven's losing this. He's not had a title yet. He's been Tyler Bates' lackey in the Heritage Cup matches. He's cost Tyler Bate the Heritage Cup. And now, I think Tyler Bate's just going to be like, fuck it. Let's switch Tyler Bate heel. Let's shock everyone. And let's get into this blood feud that I'm sure we sat here a year and a half ago, Travis, and said, this needs to happen now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pandemic didn't help any storylines, to be honest.
No, I mean, it helped absolutely nothing, but
I'm sure
at the same time,
I'm sure people, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, when people look on paper at like the possibility of Tyler Bate turning heel,
Yeah.
Based on what their exposure's been to the guy, I could totally see if they've only ever saw him in NXT UK, is he capable of pulling it off? But yeah, he is, because if you go back to Progress and British Strong Style with Pete Dunne were tremendous heels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Trent Seven and Pete Dunne turned on Tyler Bate in Progress, and then Bate turned to join them and form, the three-man British Strong Style, and it works. I think Tyler Bate and Trent Seven are loved and respected enough in the United Kingdom that they can really do anything, and people will tune in now.
And I think you agree with me too, not to always speak for you, but sometimes great minds usually just always think alike. The Heritage Cup wasn't needed to enhance the storyline. The fact that Tyler Bate is the first ever NXT UK champion and Trent Seven's never held that title is story enough. Built-in storyline. You didn't need extras, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think it adds to the fact that now, he's the first ever NXT UK champion, and he's also been the Heritage Cup champion, and Trent Seven is still lusting after the tag team titles. I think there's money in that, and it was a good build, but let's get down to the nitty gritty now. Let's split them. I'm sure there's a takeover coming in Blackpool in January. Everything's gone back to normal here now. Concerts are on. Football matches have got a full attendance. So there's no reason NXT UK can't hold a takeover in Blackpool in January. Let's have it headlined by Trent Seven versus Tyler Bate.
They've got to bring back the takeover soon. Otherwise, why are we fucking here?
Exactly. You can't have it in the BT Sports studios either. It's too small.
Matt Gallus has kind of just been Gallus. Jesus.
Yes.
We've seen little glimpses of hope of maybe, Joe Coffey finally breaking through. I don't know. I don't care about Gallus anymore. I'm just so bored with the act. And I know they've been going backstage fucking with Jordan Devlin. By the way, who was the babyface and who was the heel in that little program with Jordan Devlin? I'm still confused.
I think Gallus are babyfaces now. Jordan Devlin is most definitely the heel.
I think that backfired on the company too, because I think they booked that like Jordan Devlin should have been the babyface, but that crowd wasn't having any of it.
No. I knew the crowd would be hesitant to probably cheer both men after the speaking out movement.
Yeah.
Obviously Joe Coffey was suspended from NXT UK until an investigation was held. Jordan Devlin didn't really see any backlash from it. Obviously, neither man's accusations were proved, but the crowd, I think, were hesitant for the first match. Second match, I think they just decided that Joe Coffey was the babyface, Jordan Devlin was the heel. And I was going to ask you about this, Travis. It's on the list. Where does Jordan Devlin go from here?
That's so tough. Do you put him in a program with Dragunov eventually?
I mean, eventually. But is he the man to dethrone Dragunov, or does that go to Rampage Brown?
He's absolutely not the man, in my opinion. Honestly, I don't even know why he's on NXT UK. I don't know why he's here. No. It's a case of that for me. At least, God, bare minimum by now, put him on SmackDown or something. Put him in like the IC title division. I just don't know why he's still here.
No, he's definitely treading water. And he's another one. We said he could be the man to dethrone Walter. It never happened, for one reason or the other. And now he's just there. He's like Gallus. He's just there because he was one of the founding fathers.
Who knows what would have happened, too, if that takeover didn't get canceled, if they would have gone. I don't think they would have put it on Devlin, but it would have been awesome to see that reaction in his home country.
Yeah. I can see. I could have seen them putting it on Devlin, obviously until allegations crept up, and then everything got cancelled because of the pandemic. I just think Jordan Devlin has outgrown NXT UK now, and if you don't put the belt on him, then he's pointless. He's feuded with Joe Coffey twice now. There's going to be a third match coming. You can guarantee.
You can't do Tyler Bate for one. He's taken up, and we've seen that. You can't do. Yeah. You're right. You can't. Flash Morgan Webster, we've done that. Goddamn Mark Andrews, we've had matches. Yeah, he's done everything.
A-Kid, we've done that. Yeah. He's worked his way through. Trent Seven, he's done that. He's worked his way through every major player, I think now. So
what if you made a stable with him as the leader and Pretty Deadly are in it?
I still don't see it. I don't. I think Pretty Deadly are good enough on their own now.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why you're here, and hope they
No,
figure out something to do with you, Jordan Devlin.
and I love Jordan Devlin. I've loved Jordan Devlin for several years now, but at the same time, there's only so much water you can see him tread before you think, do you know what? Either move him on or we're going to lose interest in him.
I think it's fair to say the talent that benefited the absolute most and the entire company of WWE from the pandemic was Walter. Do you think he would have had that lengthy reign if it wasn't for the pandemic? Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think they'd have either switched it to Devlin in Ireland or they've switched it to Dragunov a lot sooner. I think the pandemic allowed them to stretch out his reign, build a proper story behind it instead of we've got to fill these weeks worth of TV. We've got this takeover coming up after Ireland in 3 or 4 months. I think the pandemic did more good for NXT UK, I'd have said, than bad.
Yeah. Matt, as we're rounding the home stretch of this week's episode, let's talk about not everything can always be great. Let's talk about the good and the bad and now the ugly. The stable of endometriosis. Eddie, what the fuck is this? I'm not interested in all. There's some sparks of hope with like Primate and just Eddie Dennis is another guy should have been doing so much more by now than this. He should. For me, he's the Matt Hardy of NXT UK.
Oh, I mean, Eddie Dennis has only had 3, maybe 4 to 5 matches since returning from his surgery, and since NXT UK, came back last year. He's not really. I don't think he's really that interested in wrestling himself at all anymore. And just to have him as the leader of this going nowhere group, it's like, and they were doing so well. I would add with the Hunt before Wild Boar got injured, and then it was just like panic stations. Primate's not going to make it on his own in NXT UK. What do we do? And this is the result.
This is like the most generic little ooga booga spooky little group. Like it's not scary. It has no real cool factor.
No, it's going nowhere.
Exactly.
It's like they're going to dump Eddie Dennis at some point. They're going to split up. Wild Boar is going to return when he's ready, and that's going to be the end of Symbiosis.
To be honest, right now, this is the biggest channel changer on this entire show for me. Is when this group's on my TV.
I mean, I think NXT UK are happy that they've found something to do with T-Bone, but at the same time, it's just boring now. They're not going anywhere. They've not had any real great matches, apart from the match against Mustache Mountain that was notable, and I'm just not bothered about them.
Let's talk about the amazing, entertaining aspects of one of the maybe my favorite act in the entire NXT UK that's come along since we recorded. Pretty Deadly. My goodness.
Yes.
We've seen him do some guest color commentary this month. That was hilarious shit. I can't take my eyes off these guys. Not in a weird way, but just they remind me kind of the Edge and Christian of this brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. But like I said earlier, by far my favourite part of NXT UK since the comeback. And it's not an exaggeration to say that almost every one of their matches has been really, really good. Obviously, matches with Mustache Mountain and Gallus were always going to be good, but they've carried teams like Symbiosis to fair encounters.
Yeah,
I'm not so keen on the upcoming. And it's coming, Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars versus Pretty Deadly. We're getting that at some point. But, yeah, Pretty Deadly are moving on to a serious feud with Mustache Mountain now, not just a one-off. I should have said spoiler alert there, shouldn't I? But, yeah, that's what's coming in November, end of November, early December. But, top marks for two men who, when the brand disappeared off of air, they were just basically enhancement talent. They didn't know how to use them properly, and now they've come back. Just kick the door in and say, right, we're here.
Maybe. No, I know this. The most underrated act in all of professional wrestling currently that never gets talked about enough, that's on an actual decent platform, is Pretty Deadly. You hear about the Young Bucks all the time. You hear about the Usos, the New Day, the best tag teams, the Revival, all this shit. Pretty Deadly's just sitting there. Nobody ever talks about him. It's a shame.
No, and that's a crime. It's a crime. I'd love to see them at Survivor Series take on the Usos and who the fuck are the Raw Tag Team Champions? I couldn't even tell you.
Fuck. Let me think. I don't know. That's sad.
See, that's how much of an impression it leaves on us now.
Oh, RK Bro. There we go.
Oh, okay, well, I'd like to see them go against Riddle and Randy Orton and the Usos in a triple threat. I think that would be brilliant.
Anything is better than another match with the fucking New Day and the Usos. I can't do it anymore. Stop doing that match. Jesus. I get it. It was good the first 417 fucking times we saw it. But enough.
Yeah. But, like a main stage platform for them, even if it's just for one night, because they deserve it for what they've done for the brand, for the tag team division, which was floundering under Gallus. Let's not lie.
Yeah.
And just absolutely top work. And if people listening to this haven't seen Pretty Deadly yet, or they've just seen pictures of them and thought, oh, God, no, thank you, I urge you to go back and watch all of their stuff from even before they won the tag titles. Let's go from November last year to present day, and you'll see why we think they're one of the best tag teams in the world today.
Matt, I can't argue, by the way. Matt, did we get it all in? What else is left on our omnibus this week?
I just want to ask you about 2/3 more people. Rohan Raja and Tio Man, thoughts, because they're not clicking for me.
No, Tio Man is terrible. I don't get that at all. I haven't seen enough of Raja yet, but I'm not blown away. I'll put it that way.
No, and they're teasing more stablemates, or more or less, in inverted commas, family members for them. I don't know who. I'm not really interested in who, but I see them going nowhere fast.
It just comes off as a complete waste of time.
And Charlie Dempsey, Travis.
Thank you for bringing that guy up. I'm a big fan of Charlie Dempsey. This guy has, I can't describe the look. At first, it's a little off-putting, like, what the fuck? Who's this nerd? But he reminds me of an American Dragon Bryan Danielson, in a way, when he was really young. I don't know, but I'm enjoying some Charlie Dempsey on my screen.
Personality-wise, he's generic right now, but in the ring, my God, when that bell rings, he's his father's son all over.
And I don't know why, like, his name just reminds me of, like, the golden age of Hollywood for some reason, Charlie Dempsey. It sounds like an old Hollywood actor, but no, I'm enjoying it. Would you have given him the last name Regal? That's always a tough call because, for one, you never know how the offspring feels about it. Because, like, do I want to be defined about my dad's past? I would have went with Regal. I mean, why not? Look at that lineage. It's not like Regal was a top fucking guy. It's not like he has an impossible legacy to live up to. No, that's true. And I see Charlie Dempsey a year from now. I see him as NXT UK champion. You'd be foolish not to put him at least in the bracket. I actually kind of feel sorry for Charlie Dempsey in a way. Like, how hard do you think William Regal was on him training? He's like, Dad, I want to get in the business. How, because Regal didn't pull any fucking punches with this kid. No, of course he didn't. And I was trained by Dave Taylor as well. Ugh. He must have gone through hell. But, from his first match on NXT UK, and I can't remember what his name was, but he fought one match as somebody else, and then, you could see in that match just absolutely brilliant from start to finish. And now, hopefully, they're getting behind him. They're going to push him. And I can see, if/when they run out of ideas for him, I can see him and Xia Brookside as a intergender team. Regal, Brookside. Second generation, yeah. If they ever bring the Heritage Cup back next year, I feel like he's a surefire favorite for me to win it if they stay the course with him. Do you know what? I think he's going to challenge Noam Dar for it before then. Okay. Yeah, because Noam Dar's going to defend that title. And please, I know people are going, it's really nice and different that they've got a cup instead of a championship. But I think it, beyond the initial tournament to crown a new champion, I think that cup looks like an eyesore now. For me, I always prefer a belt anyways, because, this is fucking wrestling. That's not hockey.
And it's now called the Heritage Cup Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get a belt around it.
I mean, even though technically it is called the Stanley Cup Championship, and that's just a cup. I don't know. It's all just make a fucking belt. Melt it down like Kama melted down the Undertaker's urn and make it into a belt.
I mean, that would be great for Noam Dar. Can you imagine how hated it'd be if he just melted down a British trophy and made it into a title?
What if they did a storyline like that's what he did, and they pan the camera over, and you bring back Charles Wright, and he's in his old Kama gear with like a wig. He's like, I needed some help to do this. It's just for no reason. It would get people talking about something on NXT UK more than they are now. Oh, did you hear Kama came back?
It would. And can I just say to everybody who, as we wrap this up, who hasn't seen it, Tyler Bate versus Noam Dar from the October 28th NXT UK, much worth checking out if you haven't already. And just go to the network and watch some NXT UK. I've seen comments on Twitter, Travis, where people are like, oh, has it got any fans and is it any good? How can it be, in a small empty studio? Well, it's not empty anymore. There's fans back. All right, they're sparse, but fans are back. NXT UK has been churning out some of the very best wrestling, and I mean professional wrestling, on television for about, 2 years now. Mm-hmm. So get over there and check it out, because honestly, you're missing it.
It's a kind of a shitty way to do the sign-off this week, but I feel like it needs address, and I feel like a big reason why that's happened, obviously the pandemic and no crowds takeover is going on hiatus.
Yeah.
But the 1-2 punch of that and the speaking out movement, I feel awful for the talent whose hands were clean in this, who were affected by this, because when that happened, I've seen it up and down on fucking social media. Oh, all those NXT UK guys are pervs, but no, they're not. There's going to be bad apples on any roster. For Christ's sakes.
Of course there is.
But I feel like, yes, it was a plethora more than any other of talent during the Speaking Out movement. And that, in a way, just destroyed the morale of NXT UK for a little good while. And it's taken a lot to come back from that. And it's going to take a while to get a buzz building. But I think with the incorporation of takeovers coming back, fans back, the talent that's always been there, they've always had the talent. That's not been the issue. I think all the pieces are there. It's worth watching more. And that's another thing with those fans. They're the same fans the second you start saying anything negative about Impact. They're like, man, give Impact a chance. It's good. It's good.
Exactly.
So fuck you. From Matt and I, here's a cordial fuck you from him and I.
There you go. And I couldn't have said it better myself, Travis.
Anything else this week on our October Omnibus, man?
No, that's it. Just go and check out the matches we've suggested. Give NXT UK a chance. You won't regret it. And, how can you not watch all the Walter stuff as well? Even before this review, there's 800 odd days of Walter as champion. Every defense was brilliant. The majority of matches are brilliant. The NXT UK women's division, it needs an overhaul. I'm not going to lie. It was one of the best in the world when we left. It came back after the pandemic and it wasn't all that. That needs an overhaul now. But apart from that, you're missing Pretty Deadly. You're missing all Walter stuff. You're going to miss the implosion of Mustache Mountain, which is going to be, for me, historic, really. And, you're just missing so much young talent that you're going to hear a lot from in the future, and you're going to regret not seeing how they started and where they came from.
And most importantly, you guys are missing what the majority of you bitch about every single week when AEW drops an episode of Raw. Less talking, more wrestling. You always get that, I feel like, on NXT UK.
Yeah, I like that they've altered the... because it wasn't before... It wasn't before, Travis. When it first started, there was a lot of talking in it. And I even mention it in the book that episodes could have done with a lot more wrestling and less talking. But now, you get maybe 10 minutes of talking on an hour show, and the rest is just pure wrestling.
I do enjoy, and it's weird we haven't brought it up this entire episode, I do love the new theme song way more for NXT UK.
Do you? I'm not. It's not grown on me yet. Maybe because I was, obviously, the old one has been there since around about 2017 in various forms. But I'm not sure it'll grow on me if it stays around long enough.
It took us 53 minutes and 7 seconds on the dot this week, but we finally disagreed, Matt. We did it.
We need to make a pact that there's always going to be something, even if it's just one thing every week that we disagree on.
Fair enough, my friend. Until next week, one more time, Matt, where can everyone catch you?
You can catch me on Twitter at Bruisermates, that's M8, the number 8. Lulu.com, where you can buy The Undertaker, A Trip Down Death Valley, NXT UK Year 1, and ProWrestlingTees.com/Union Smack, where you can pick up the new Union Smack shirt and pick up I was saying a copy. It's not a copy, is it? Pick up one of Rocky's wrestling shirts as well. The designs are just top notch. Better than anything you'll see on WWE or AEW shop.
Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Knocking them all out. Thank you again, my friend, for joining me this week. And as always, hit that subscribe button down below here on YouTube. All the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, all your nerdy funny bones. We're going to tickle them. Hill Dicky, TMD. Yeah, until next week, my friend, and we're going retro once again. I know basketball season has come and gone, but next week it's going to be our Final Four as we go to February 1997 right here. The Omnibus rolls on, doing all the in your houses right here, Union Smack. Until next week, cheerio, mate.